It'd be me.
You have the moment of silence, correct? For members, attendees who are on the webinar, you'll notice on the screen the method by which you can participate in tonight's board meeting if you have public comments you would like to make. I see a couple of hands raised. I'm going to lower those hands as the board does not respond to inquiries without the public comments. Actually, they don't respond to inquiries even at that point. But if you have a public comment, that would be the appropriate way following the directions on the screen. And good evening, everybody. The board will be coming into session in about 3 minutes. Madam President, I believe we have a quorum of the board, and it is now 7 o'clock.
I'll unmute myself. We will resume the school board meeting, November 16th, the 46th school board meeting. And before we do the pledge, I'd like to just note that Governor Pritzker signed COVID-19 Executive Order number 67 on Friday, which extends modifications to the Open Meetings Act and permits public bodies to meet remotely through electronic means. In addition, Tier 2 restrictions in our Region 8, limit gatherings to 10 people, and these include school board meetings. Therefore, this meeting will be remote using a Zoom webinar in compliance with the Executive Order and Public Act 101-640. The public is invited to join the Zoom webinar or watch a live stream of the meeting on YouTube. Please note that Superintendent Tony Sanders is present at district offices, while the board and remainder of the administration are participating remotely. And if we could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Before we begin, I do want to ask for a moment of silence. So we would like to take a moment of silence to remember Laura A. Chandler, who taught in U46 for 16 years, most recently at Glenbrook Elementary School in Streamwood. Laura passed away on November 10th. Coworkers and friends describe Laura as a positive, high-energy person and dedicated educator. Glenbrook principal Cheryl DeRue said she was willing to take on any challenge to help her colleagues and students. There really was nothing she would not do for her students and families, DeRue said. She loved children. She did not have children, and because she didn't have children, she treated the kids like they were her own. Laura, who served as general education 4th, 5th grade teacher this year, had long led many after-school clubs, from Battle of the Books, Safety Patrol, to cheerleading, dance, and algebra. She was generous with her praise as well as her popular candy rewards for students. Amid the pandemic and distance learning, Laura spent many additional hours with students to make sure they received the support and services needed. During her time in the district, Laura also worked at Ronald D. O'Neill and Timber Trails Elementary Schools. She is survived by her husband, Doug, her parents, mother and father-in-law, a sister and brother, and extended family. Services were held November 15th at UC Davis Callahan Funeral Home in Morris, Illinois. We will keep Laura's family and friends in our thoughts and prayers. Thank you all. Okay. First item on the agenda, I believe, Mr. Sanders, is our proclamations for education. Okay. So as people may not know, this is an annual event, American Education Week, where we honor our teachers who serve our students. And before I read the proclamation, I want to give a special thanks to our teachers who have had an extraordinary and challenging last 9 months. And I want to thank them for all the work they've done, all the new things they've had to learn. It has been a whole new world that I'm sure none of them ever expected when they went into the field of education. So I want them to know that we certainly appreciate all of them. So let me read this proclamation. Whereas during a regular school year, teachers serve students on a daily basis in many capacities that contribute to the quality of education. And whereas the COVID-19 pandemic and transition to remote learning required teachers to use their experience, creativity, and talents in educating their students in a new way. And whereas teachers have shown their dedication and flexibility in meeting the continuing demands of the pandemic, collaborating on the development of new district instruction models, learning and implementing instruction with new technology, updating their approach to engaging students, distributing supplemental supplies and materials, calling families, checking in on student attendance, making referrals for support services, and much, much more. Whereas School District U46 employs more than 2,000 teachers, and whereas U46 teachers not only lend their special skills and talents to the efficient operation of the school system, they also have played a significant role in the district's response to the challenges posed by COVID-19. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Education recognizes its talented teachers during American Education Week, November 16th through 20th, 2020, and asks administrators, students, parents, and the community to join in recognizing and thanking these individuals for their dedication, efforts, and service on behalf of children and youth. Presented the 16th day of November, 2020, signed Susan Kerr, Board of Education, and Superintendent Tony Sanders. And I believe we have Barb Bettis here. Yes.
Yes, I'm here this evening. Thank you, President Kerr.
So thank you, and thank you for all of your people, all the teachers. So if you'd like to say a few words.
I would, if I may. First of all, thank you, everyone, for the recognition this evening. And I gladly accept this recognition on behalf of the 2,700 plus teachers, social workers, nurses, and other related service teachers in our district. And President Kerr, I agree with you. This has been a challenging year for all of us in education. And as our ETA members continue to adapt to these unprecedented events, and we still continue to strive to deliver the best possible education for all of our students. So once again, on behalf of all the teachers, thank you very much for this recognition. It seems even a little bit more important this year. So thank you so much.
Madam President, can I just offer my special thank you as well to all of our teachers. You've been amazing in this time. I know every professional development, all the Zoom meetings that I'm on with teachers, we all need to be thankful, not only of our teachers, but of our educational support professionals who will be recognized next. I also just wanted to note for teachers watching, and for you, Barb, and for anybody at home who might care, tonight, as we're having this meeting, the Village of South Elgin is passing a resolution thanking our teachers. Tomorrow night, the Village of Bartlett will take up the same resolution. The City of Elgin on Wednesday night, the Village of Hanover Park and the Village of Streamwood will do the same resolution on Thursday night to thank our teachers through a collaborative effort with our Alignment Collaborative for Education. So we do appreciate all that you do, not only in U46, but across all of our communities as well.
And thank you for those kind words as well.
Okay, we have another proclamation since we have Education Support Professionals Day coming up on Wednesday, I believe. So again, I want to thank all of the secretaries, bus drivers, paraprofessionals, food service, operations staff, and all the assistants who work to support our students. Again, they have had a challenging and very different last 9 months. They have done amazing things with getting food out to kids, with preparing, supporting teachers and helping kids, supporting administrators. So thank you all very much. And bus drivers, I want to make sure I mention them as well, who've been driving our kids and also delivering food. So let me read this proclamation. Whereas education support professionals, including secretaries, paraprofessionals, food service workers, operations staff, bus drivers, and assistants, serve students on a daily basis in many capacities that contribute to the quality of education. Whereas when the COVID-19 pandemic and transition brought a halt to in-person learning, education support professionals have played an important role in the district's response, preparing student supplies for distance learning kits, creating instructional videos with teachers, reading aloud books and recording for remote library sessions, delivering supplies to families, distributing meals, making phone calls to check in with families and follow up on attendance, sanitizing school buildings, and more. Whereas the contributions of these talented and dedicated individuals are recognized prior to Education Support Professionals Day, November 18th, 2020. And whereas School District U46 employs more than 1,600 support staff, and whereas U46 support staff members not only lend their special skills and talents to the efficient operation of the school district, they also have played a significant role in the district's response to the challenges posed by COVID-19. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Education recognizes its talented education support staff prior to Education Support Professionals Day, November 18th, 2020, and asks administrators, teachers, students, parents, and the community to join in recognizing and thanking these individuals for their dedication, efforts, and service on behalf of children and youth. Presented this day, the 16th of November, 2020, signed Susan Kerr, Board President, and Superintendent Tony Sanders. And I believe we have a number of people representing these various groups. Sarah Muller, I see you. If you want to say a few words, or
I'd like to say thank you, and I would gladly accept this proclamation recognition on behalf of DUIA, which consists of paras, homeschool liaisons, libraries, paras, sign language interpreters, and piano accompanists. And we just thank you for that, and go on to the rest of the ESP groups that are in this meeting.
Who else do I see? Heather?
Hi, thank you. Thanks, everyone. I just have a short, it's just a short little thing to say. Since this pandemic began, our members have risen to the occasion. We have delivered food and schoolwork, dove headfirst into distance learning, and did our best to provide normalcy and emotional support for our students. We miss them. We want to see them more than anything, but we want to do it safely. A huge thank you to our Transportation Director, Jeff Prowl, and Assistant Director, Beth Lapa, for keeping the line of communication open and collaborating with DO2. Huge shout out to the school board for supporting DO2 members. It has not gone unnoticed. On Wednesday, November 18th, please recognize your educational support professionals for the work they have done. Thank you and have a great night.
And who else do we have? Sorry, I'm having
We have Brenda Sussman.
Brenda.
Hi, I just want to say thank you for honoring us and all the rest of our support staff. And thank you for all that hard work you guys are doing through all of this.
Thank you, Brenda.
Thank you.
And
And then Tim Sheehan is also.
Tim, okay.
Sorry, have to find a way to unmute. I just chime in. I didn't expect to speak. I do thank the board for this recognition. Our group has been back, I think, longer than any group, and we've worked hand in hand with administrators as they've tried to navigate this difficult issue. I've been with John Heiderscheid a lot, Sheila Downs, and Bruce Phelps. And, you know, as many people that want to criticize management, I'm always telling people that you have to be understanding that this is a new situation and we're learning as we go. And I, for one, think that U46 administration is on the right track. And again, ESSO appreciates being recognized.
Great. Thank you very much.
Now, who would have concerns over management, Tim? I'm just teasing. I wanted to say, if you don't mind, Madam President.
Oh, go ahead.
On March 13th of last 8 months ago, and boy, does it seem like it was just yesterday. But at the same time, it feels like it's been a lifetime ago. Our support professionals were the last group that I met with in person before everybody disbanded to go their different directions, before we even knew that wearing a mask was what we were supposed to do. And so I have appreciated not just our teachers, but of course, all of our educational support personnel, our drivers, our custodians, our secretaries, and our paraprofessionals. You've collaborated with us. You've helped us get back into some semblance of normalcy with kids returning here recently. And the work does not go unnoticed. So thank you on behalf of administration as well.
Thank you. Okay, next item, I believe, is strategic plan report, Mr. Sanders.
Thank you, Madam President. Members of the Board of Education, originally tonight we were planning on providing our typical PowerPoint update, but we have some more late breaking news to share with the Board of Education. And so we're going to forego the PowerPoint for tonight. We still are able to answer any board questions. Dr. Johnson is with us tonight. Lama Storovich is with us, and Mr. Lindholm in the event the board has questions. And of course, I'm with you. So this morning, the Kane County Health Department provided guidance to U46 saying that we should take an adaptive pause effective November 23rd through December 4th. An adaptive pause is a state terminology in the state mitigation plans that says that they want school districts to return to remote learning only. So the health department says that we will be okay continuing with our current plan to finish up this week for our students in specialized programs, for the high school students who are coming back for some small group work, and for our pre-K to second graders. However, beginning November 23rd, they do ask that we go all remote. We will meet again, all the Kane County superintendents will meet again with the health department again on November 30th and December 2nd to get updates from them on our current numbers and to get further guidance moving beyond December 4th. We've communicated this, the direction from Kane County to our administrators earlier today, then to the Elgin Teachers Association, and then we sent an update to all staff members at 6 o'clock this evening. As I speak, we have a communication going out to all families. So tonight we dropped the PowerPoint to give you just these few updates. While we're in the adaptive pause, from November 23rd to at least December 4th, we will be in fully remote learning. That means that no in-person instruction or extracurricular activities will occur during that time period. Grades 3 through 6 that were supposed to start back on November 1st will remain in distance learning until the adaptive pause is concluded. Teaching assignments for grades 3 through 6 will remain the same for now. However, we are proceeding forward with professional development for those teachers this Thursday and Friday as we had planned to do so. We continue to work on, for second semester, the hybrid model for middle and high schoolers as they return second semester. And I want to address the rumors that we keep getting. I know I've received a few emails and so have board members with the belief that we will only have students in person 1 day a week. I assure you, I will not bring a model forward to the Board of Education that does not provide at least 2 days of instruction per week for our students. Another couple of notes, we will continue again to move forward with the students who are supposed to be in session this week as scheduled, assuming several things occur. Number one, that we're still able to stay on top of contact tracing, that we still have enough adults available to provide instruction and supervision, and assuming that we don't have another order from the governor or another health department that require us to close. Our contact tracing continues to show us that the illnesses is not being generated within our buildings. It's actually, so far in the period of time that we've had students back in person, which for our specialized student services population has been a little over a month, that we are not the spreaders. Schools are actually a really safe place for students to be, so long as they wear their mask and staff wear their mask, as long as we provide that social distancing and the hand washing. If you talk to the local health departments, and as Mr. Jeff Judge, our health services coordinator, can attest, the cases we continue to monitor and track generate from our community. They generate from Halloween gatherings. They will generate from Thanksgiving gatherings if people are not careful. It is those instances in the public when we allow ourselves to take our mask off and be around others is where we continue to spread COVID-19. So with that, I'm available to answer any questions the board may have.
Do any board members have questions? Anyone? I
Mr.
can't
Dever-
see him.
Yep, sorry,
John,
John.
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Just a couple of quick things. One, that I remember correctly that certain small groups were going to be starting up today. And did that happen? And obviously they're under the same restrictions ahead, but did that start today and will that continue this week?
Yes, they started back today. Ms. Mistorovich sent me some photos of students appropriately socially distancing and really being great. So yes, we did have small groups coming back in today. Lala, any updates you want to share on the experiences that those students had?
Sure. So we have our high school small groups coming in. They'll continue to come in for this week. So students will be, according to plan, they'll have access to the building 1 day per week. Obviously not while we're on adaptive pause, but they will come in for the remainder of this week. We'll have middle school small groups will start coming in tomorrow, and they will come in for the remainder of this week as well.
A couple other quick things, or one more. Now that we're sort of got a little bit of runway with a couple of groups, what about any of the hiccups that might have been faced in the last, couple of weeks? Whether it was not the wellness, the self-certifications or anything else, things that obviously we don't want to be in a position where we're learning on the fly, but naturally that's going to happen. So how is that going so far then?
Yeah, we did have the glitch with our server going down on the self-certification website. It happened on the first Friday we were back. I've apologized to the community for that. We have a backup plan now to make sure that doesn't happen again. Certainly, the first day of school and the first week of school, we had administrators out and about collecting feedback. We've had an all administrator call since that time to gather feedback. By and large, I think the return to, especially for our pre-K to second graders, went astoundingly well. The kids, I think, were excited to be back. I think the teachers were excited to have their kids back in their classrooms. Certainly there is always room for improvement, but I can't think of any specific thing that happened that would cause us to panic. Dr. Johnson, anything that you recall from our discussions at Cabinet as we've had these further conversations?
No, thank you very much, Mr. Sanders. Many of the same things you've already touched on. Really, it's the ongoing attention and just ability to respond to some of the details that came forward. So ongoing need and highlighting additional resources, ongoing training and support overall for sites, not only instructionally, but with many of the operational pieces, which are just so new. And so the ongoing communication training, communication about those items, and making sure that we all readily know how to access all of these resources, again, whether that be instructionally or operationally, and then the ongoing training for them as well. Being so tech dependent for communication and connection, I think there's certainly a need to continue to be able to address whatever challenges or needs come our way.
Yeah, I think the communication piece is another, as you mentioned, is a big one, especially learning the new terminology of quarantine versus room closure. So you can have a group of students who are all in quarantine, therefore the room, yeah, technically is closed, but it was not closed because of an outbreak in the classroom. So there's a lot of new nuanced language that we all have to kind of become accustomed to as we move, especially with the contact tracing. There's a lot of language I've had to learn as we've gone through this process.
Good, thanks.
Yep.
Melissa?
So, Mr. Sanders, you mentioned that we'll continue as we are in place right now, right, for the week. So meaning that pre-K through second grade will continue, and the high school groups that were scheduled to go in this week will continue. You mentioned that that our ability to continue contact tracing and to have enough staff available is obviously going to determine how well we're able to continue this week. Are there concerns that you have right now about staffing levels or about our ability to be able to manage the contact tracing?
Not at this time. Well, it's contact tracing, yes, I can tell you we've tried to add additional staff. So our nurses, our health services staff, certified school nurses and direct service nurses under the direction of Mr. Judge and Mr. Heiderscheit have done an amazing job trying to keep on top of contact tracing. To help support them in that effort, we've set up a call center to continue to help them. And we've hired several new interns. I believe we had 6 new interns starting to help us with that process to stay on top of contact tracing. So far, we've not had significant issues with absences or problems getting adults to come into buildings. I don't foresee that being the case this week, so long as we continue to provide the health and safety, the professional protective equipment, ensuring that 6 feet of social distance, and the assurance that if we have a case or that's identified, that we do appropriately quarantine the staff members or anybody involved. So we're not afraid to close a classroom if we need to.
Okay. I appreciate your statement that schools are a safe place to be, given the ability to use PPE correctly, given the ability to maintain that 6 foot social distance. I think what makes this difficult for people to understand operationally, that if we do have instances where somebody has to quarantine, that ripples out, right? That it's not as if we can disregard the fact that if somebody is exposed, they have to be out for the appropriate amount of time before they come back in, even if they are not sick, right? So those operationally, that quarantine period is really something that needs to be managed. I know that, we've just gotten to the point where we're able to get some high school students in, and there's going to be some disappointment about having that be curtailed again. I appreciate that we're going to continue to plan so that we are able to hopefully get high school students back in for second semester. Do you know when we should be able to see plans on what that school day might look like once we get to second semester?
Sure. My hope is that December 4th is my next, the next update. This is when the Kane County Health Department asked us to stay out is until December 4th. That means that with the leave of the board, I'd like to request that we use that December 7th special board meeting to update you on what the Kane County Health Department's latest direction is. And hopefully by that point have an update for middle school and high school on what the schedule could look like coming back in second semester. If the board is open to using that special board meeting.
Ms. Kerr, I think you're muted.
I'm muted. I know I'm muted. Sorry. I will check with the board, but unless someone has they can let me know if there's an issue, but that sounds fine. Any other questions?
That's all I have. Thanks.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Melissa. No one?
I just want to, it's going out in the message tonight. I just want to thank our community and our staff for the continued patience. We continue to get feedback from our local health departments, and I do appreciate especially our DuPage and Kane County Health Departments for always being available to us and giving us guidance. And I appreciate the directness of the Kane County Health Department today, saying that they want us to close for a period of time.
You ever deal with Cook County Health Department?
We do, but I know Mr. Judge and Mr. Heiderscheit have regular contact with them.
Okay.
They've never really engaged us at the superintendent level in our regular meetings in Kane. And so there's just,
well, it's a big
involved
county.
in Cook County
Yeah.
stuff. But yes, we do have contact with them for all the contact tracing, for any cases coming out of schools in Cook County. They're actively engaged with us. Yes.
Sue, could I just say
Yes.
one more thing?
Sure,
I
go ahead,
just
Kate.
want to say to parents and community and teachers and things like that, we as a board are getting your emails. We are reading them. We are sharing them with administration as appropriate. I've noticed again and again that parents are emailing in about their kids struggling. And I just want to remind everybody once again, because I'm a parent, we are doing distance learning in my house and I get how miserable it is. Please reach out if it gets beyond miserable. There are social workers, there are counselors, there are principals, there are teachers, and they're ready, willing, and able to help your kid. So please, please, if it gets beyond just rotten, ask for help, And then again, just even say to the kids, thank you kids for so much for continuing to go. I look at my own kids every night and thank them for trying one more time on distance learning. And it's probably worth thanking all of our students too, and certainly all of our teachers, staff, administrators, bus drivers, everybody. There aren't enough thank yous to thank everyone involved. But please, again, reach out if you need help. There are people who can help.
Yeah, that's a good point. And also for employees as well. We have the employee assistance program for employees who might be struggling.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Ask for help. It's okay to ask for help.
Great.
Sue?
Yes, go ahead, Eva. I'm sorry.
One thing I want to address, I've gotten emails as well. We all have, and some parents have said that we've gone silent. And I just want to remind them to continue to, any questions or concerns that you have, go to Let's Talk. And that's where you would get your answers or response. My emails are just so overflowing with emails, and I do read them, but it's getting impossible to really answer them all and give the feedback that I would like to give. And so we kind of speak with one voice. So we'll leave it up to Sue and Tony and Suzanne to kind of give you the feedback. But I'm listening still. So don't think we've gone silent on you. We have not. Thank you.
That reminds me of Happy School Board Members Day. Yesterday was School Board Members Day, and I tweeted it and I put it on Facebook, but I haven't said it to you all in person. So for those who don't know, board members don't get paid for their service. They volunteer their time to give back to their school districts. So thank you for giving back your time and your energy and reading those emails without pay. So much appreciated.
Thank you. Okay, next item are comments from the audience.
Ruby?
Hello, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Board of Education meeting. We are now at the public comment portion of the meeting. Attendees wishing to make a public comment tonight were asked to complete a request to speak form in advance and were then provided with a webinar ID number to call in promptly at 7 p.m. Monday, November 16, 2020. As always, speakers will be given 3 minutes to share their comment. The board listens to the speakers but does not respond to individual questions or comments during the meeting. A written response will be mailed to the speaker if requested on the form. Those who provided a public comment but chose not to speak publicly in the meeting were asked to submit an email to board@u-46.org. Those emails were posted on the board agenda for public viewing. Buenas noches y bienvenidos a la reunión de la Junta Educativa. En este momento abrimos al público la oportunidad de hacer comentarios. Los asistentes que deseaban hacer un comentario público esta noche se les pidió completar un formulario de solicitud para hablar antes de la reunión y luego se les proporcionó un número de identificación de la reunión en línea para llamar a las 7 p.m. lunes 16 de noviembre de 2020. Como siempre, los oradores dispondrán de 3 minutos para hacer sus comentarios. La Junta Educativa escucha preocupaciones y preguntas, pero no da respuesta durante la reunión. Si solicitó en el formulario recibir una respuesta, se le enviará por correo. Se pidió a los que proporcionaron un comentario público, pero decidieron no hablar públicamente en la reunión, que enviaran un correo electrónico a board@u-46.org. Esos correos electrónicos se publicaron en la agenda de la Junta. Si necesita interpretación, por favor indíquelo antes de hacer su comentario público. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Ruby. For the record, I am at the central office, as Madam President said earlier, and there are nobody showed up here to make any public comments. That said, we have 2 public comments this evening. The first one is Barb Bettis. Ms. Bettis.
Hello again, and good evening, members of the school board, Superintendent Sanders, and all others present this evening. As president of the Elgin Teachers Association, I'm here to speak on behalf of our 2,700 members. And I'm also here as a 40-year resident of the greater Elgin community. Over the past 20 years, I have both taught and held various positions in a number of buildings in our district, and I now have the privilege and the responsibility of serving our members as their president. My original intent this evening was to share with you the many concerns and issues I have been hearing from members and ask for consideration for an adaptive pause to address the many issues that currently exist. At the forefront of every meeting, of every conversation, the focus has been on the welfare and safety of our students and also for our teachers and staff. As Superintendent Sanders has just shared, we now enter into an abbreviated adaptive pause. While the pause delays the return for in-person instruction for some and returns others to remote, we are still committed to continuing to work with the district administration to help ensure its ultimate implementation is safe, successful, and sustainable. It is the hope and the intent of the ETA to work collaboratively with the district to address the needs of our educational system, regardless of instructional setting, as we share an interest in the success of all students, those who choose to stay home to learn during these times, and those who desire a more traditional in-person experience. We recognize the difficult time this unprecedented pandemic has created for students, for families, teachers, staff, and also for leadership. In collaboration with the district, we strive to address the issues and concerns moving forward. So on behalf of many, many concerned teachers and staff, we are grateful for this pause so that we can address the areas of concern that currently exist in our system. So thank you for your time this evening.
Ms. Bettis. Our next public speaker is Elizabeth Chaparro, and I am allowing you, you should be unmuted and able to speak at this point. Elizabeth?
Hello. Hi, this is Elizabeth Chaparro. I am a mother of a first grader. He attends U46. I just wanted to share my comment with you guys. First off, I'd like to say thank you to all the teachers and assistants for everything that they do to continue teaching and supporting our kids throughout these challenging times. I know it's not easy for them. And like I said, I do have a first grader at home. He was going to be starting hybrid learning a few weeks ago but my husband and I decided to keep him at home to continue with the e-learning since the numbers were rising. We were heartbroken to find out that my son's schedule would completely change. Along with his teacher, he loved his teacher, and it just felt like when this whole transition took place, it felt like he started the school year all over again. So he struggled in the beginning of the school year, and he's struggling again now. He had become already familiar and comfortable with his teacher and with the schedule, and now it seems like we are back to step one. Obviously, nobody expected this to happen. Nobody wanted this, for their kids to be at home doing e-learning. Everyone wants to go back to normal, everything to go back to normal, but obviously it's impossible, especially now with school season around the corner. So I'd really like everything, if possible, to be considered to go back to how it was at the beginning of the school year. We loved our teacher and the schedule, and now it just seems like he's a first grader and he's stuck with a second grade class with a new teacher, with a lot of new classmates. It just seems very overwhelming, and he's struggling. I can tell that the teachers are struggling, the other students are struggling, and us as parents, we're also struggling. Thank you again.
Thank you for the feedback. We'll follow up.
And that's all the public comment.
Those are all the public comments we have, Madam President.
So moving on to other business, I believe. Board member and superintendent update. Any updates from board members? Melissa.
I just want to thank the staff members and the students that participated in the discussion on Saturday regarding student voices and equity. It was a really interesting and what I felt was a very heartfelt discussion by the students. And if board members haven't had a chance to watch that, I would encourage everybody to go back and watch it. And I think that the students raised some really good points that need to be considered by the board as we move forward in our own equity work.
Mr. Sanders, where can we access that?
I'll make sure that we get that link sent out to the board.
Okay, great. Thank you.
I'm not sure of the exact link. I imagine it's on our YouTube, but I'm not positive. And then, since I was talking, do you mind if I just share the one?
Sure.
So Mrs. Owens also joined me along with several cabinet members at the Hanover Township Leaders Reception for Culture, Inclusion, and Diversity Committee, which had some great presentations on race and culture in the Northwest suburbs and specifically within our communities. It was a very well done session.
Mr. Sanders, do you know if they recorded that? Because I had to leave early to go to work. I've been working every evening. So do you know if they recorded that?
They did. And I asked the question if they would send the link out to all those attendees, and they said they would.
Okay, great.
I haven't
Thanks.
seen the link yet, but yes, they did record it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And then I would update on the student advisory, but I'll let Olivia, I'm sure, has more to add from student advisors.
Yeah, we had I think it was our second student advisory meeting, right? Yeah, so we had our second one. We got an update. We were presented with a few ideas for hybrid learning, which, is up in the air right now. But yeah, super excited. And we got to give feedback through Canvas on our discussion board, which is always fun. And yeah, then we had our discussions on the student summit and just working through everything. So yeah, thank you.
And Eva, you look like you're.
Yes, I was trying to jump in right after Melissa to echo what she said. I think Dr. Teresa Lance did a great job with Mr. Cook on Saturday. I think the students, the 9 students, I think from the various high schools, I think they were very transparent and very open. And I think that they had a lot to say that we really need to listen to. We've got a long ways to go, but at least we're having that conversation right now in so many different formats. And so we need to continue to be open to listen. And when we can engage ourselves in different forums, when we can learn about diversity and cultural insensitivity, we need to do so. But those students, they were very transparent. And I think we've got a lot of work to do. And that's just the beginning.
Great, thank you.
Dr. Lance is on, thank you.
Thank you. And thank you to all the board members who were present. Certainly our superintendent had class, but I know he did watch it later on. But I certainly appreciate the support. And I also want to add that that was really the brainchild behind Mr. Jim Cook and Jocelyn Yarbrough, our facilitator over our LEAD program. So Lala and I just got out of the way and they took care of all the logistics and we were there to support, but they were truly the brainchild behind that.
Thank you. Kate?
Yeah, I missed the equity thing. I was so disappointed. So please send that link out. But I missed because I was serving as the delegate for the Illinois Association of School Boards delegate meeting on Saturday. And all of the votes turned out the way that we wanted to. Our votes were the same as the majority and all of that. So it was a very interesting meeting, very, very formalized in terms of how they did it. But they all came out the way that we had hoped they would. So.
Interesting. And I believe the virtual IASB meeting or III conference is this Friday.
Yeah. Yeah. And they did say, I saw in one of the things, if you all aren't able to make it, that the links will be available later for viewing for attendees.
Okay.
So.
Good.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
Just that this is, I think, the 15th year that this is the first year in 15 years that I've not been downtown for the III. So.
And all the crowds that are always down there for the parade. And
I'm not going to know what to do with myself this weekend. So. Oh, go to class. That's right. Sorry.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, FOIA requests, Mr. Sanders.
There are 4 Freedom of Information Act requests that are in board docs that will also be available on the district website in the coming week. I can answer any board questions.
Are there any questions? Okay, moving on, consent agenda, Mr. Sanders.
On the consent agenda, we have personnel report and workers' compensation cases, minutes of the board meeting, October 19th, 2020, a contract for the Office of Elementary Schools and Office of Secondary Schools, School Culture Improvement, a change order from Plan Operations for Bartlett Elementary Project number 550, Hanover Countryside Elementary Project number 801, and Sycamore Trails Elementary Project number 1478 for fire alarm system. A change order from Plan Operations for Channing Elementary School Window Replacement Project number 627, and a change order from Plan Operations for Streamwood High School Tennis Court Reconstruction Project number 312. Change order from Plan Operations for Elgin High School's Domestic Water Piping Phase 3 Project 238. And finally, a change order from Plan Operations for Larson Middle School's Gymnasium Sound System Project number 506.
Are there any items board members would like removed from the consent agenda? Okay, hearing none, could I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved. This is Melissa.
Second, this is Veronica.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Devereaux?
Yes.
Ms. Noland?
Yes.
Ms. Owens?
Yes.
Mrs. Porter?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
Madam President?
Yes.
Motion approved 7-0.
Discussion action, Mr. Sanders?
Our first item under discussion action are itemized bills for November 16th, 2020. Administration recommends the Board of Education approve the list of bills in the amount of $6,380,700 $685.20.
I have a motion to approve the list of bills in the amount of $6,380,685.20.
So moved.
Second, this is Veronica.
Any questions for Mr. Burnett or discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Devereaux,
Yes.
Ms. Noland,
Yes.
Ms. Owens,
Yes.
Mrs. Porter,
Yes.
Mrs. Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Thomas,
Yes.
Madam President,
Yes.
motion is approved 7-0.
Next are the minutes of the board committee meeting for the October 19th, 2020 Board of Education Finance Committee meeting. Administration recommends the Board of Education accept the minutes.
Could I have a motion to accept the minutes of the October 19th, 2020 Board of Education Finance Committee meeting?
So moved. This is Veronica.
Second, this is Cecilia Porter.
Any questions or discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Devereaux,
Yes.
Ms. Noland,
Yes.
Ms. Owens,
Yes.
Mrs. Porter,
Yes.
Mrs. Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Thomas,
Yes.
Mrs. Kerr, Madam President, excuse me.
Yes.
Motion is approved 7-0.
Our next is the school resource officer contract for secondary schools with the Elgin Police Department. This one, we've had discussions about all the other SRO contracts. This one is before the board this evening. This is a zero increase in terms of dollar amount with the Elgin Police Department. With that, administration recommends the Board of Education approve the school resource officer contract with the city of Elgin.
Could I have a motion to approve the school resource officer contract with the city of Elgin?
Veronica.
Second, this is Melissa.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Devereaux,
Yes.
Ms. Noland,
No.
Ms. Owens,
Yes.
Mrs. Porter,
Yes.
Mrs. Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Thomas,
Yes.
Madam President,
Yes.
motion is approved 6-1.
Next is a proposal from Curriculum Instruction for Technology Tools, Edpuzzle and Pear Deck. Mr. Phelps is with us this evening, as well as Dr. Carpenter, as well as Celia Banks, Acting Director of Curriculum Instruction. The administration recommends approval of the proposal from Edpuzzle in the amount of $46,170 and Pear Deck for $67,000 for a total of $113,170, and request authorization for district administration to execute related documents. This expenditure will be charged to the education fund and we did add that to the budget now.
Could I have a motion to approve the proposals from Edpuzzle and Pear Deck?
So moved. This is Kate.
Second, this is Veronica Nolan.
Any questions or discussion?
I just want to say how much I enjoy those two softwares. My kids use them in their classrooms, and I find them very useful, and I'm glad that we're going to make them more useful to teachers.
Me too. I just wanted to echo that totally. I don't get to use Pear Deck as much, but Edpuzzle I use quite a bit, especially with math and other some of my other classes. But yeah, it is super easy to use, and especially when we're not like synchronous with the teacher, it's super easy to interact with a video and still get that instruction that, you know, I'm missing from being in person. So I really appreciate these.
Oh, that's great. Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Devereaux,
Yes.
Ms. Noland,
Yes.
Ms. Owens,
Yes.
Mrs. Porter,
Yes.
Mrs. Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Thomas,
Yes.
Madam President,
Yes.
motion is approved 7-0.
Next item is other business employee matters. Mr. Sanders.
The one matter before the board this evening is a resolution regarding the suspension and dismissal of tenured teacher B. Administration recommends the Board of Education adopt the resolution regarding the suspension and dismissal of tenured teacher Gary Lorber.
I have a motion to adopt the resolution regarding the suspension and dismissal of tenured teacher Gary Lorber.
So moved. This is Kate.
Second, this is Melissa.
Second, this is Veronica.
Ms. Owens was second. She's second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Devereaux,
Yes.
Ms. Noland,
Yes.
Ms. Owens,
Yes.
Mrs. Porter,
Yes.
Mrs. Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Thomas,
Yes.
Madam President,
Yes.
motion is approved 7-0.
Next item, other business, CAC update.
Mr. Larry Berry is with us, and I just unmuted him so he can share his update.
And hopefully you can all hear me. Hi, Larry Berry from the now to be called, hopefully.
Could you speak up a little bit, Larry? We're having a hard time. I'm having a hard time hearing you.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. Here tonight, the CAC met earlier this month and we approved a change, an update to our bylaws that does include a long-awaited change in the name from Citizens Advisory Council to Community Advisory Council. We would like the opportunity at a future board meeting to come and present the changes for your consideration and approval. Some of it is cleanup, but again, the long-time goal that we've had as an organization to update our name to be more reflective of our communities has been approved by our membership. The second item is we do have our next meeting is December 3rd. It is our traditional community roundtables where we have the members of the Board of Education and the administration meet with our members and members of our community. This is an event that has always been our most popular of the year. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to do it in person at the Elgin High Library like we've done. So we are meeting this week to work out the details of how we're going to make this work remotely, and we will share those details with you before the meeting. But we look forward to having all of you join us on December 3rd.
And Larry, I missed the first part a little bit. That was about your revised bylaws you'll be presenting to us.
The revised bylaws, and we would like to present them to you for your consideration and approval at a future meeting.
Okay. Okay. So Mr. Sanders, I guess we'll be putting that on a future agenda.
Yes, we can certainly do so. Probably under this update.
Okay.
I'm not sure that we'll have to check with council. I don't believe it requires a board vote to change the name of the Citizens Advisory Council, because I think, if I remember correctly, in policy, it just compels us to have a community advisory council. It doesn't specify a name. So,
Correct.
So I don't know that it requires an official board vote, but they can certainly present the bylaw changes, and I think that'd be a good idea.
Sure.
I'm going to ask my two people who are Donna and Melissa, who both served as CAC chairs. If the bylaws changed, didn't the board have to approve it?
I don't think so.
Okay, I couldn't remember.
I don't think so either.
The board can accept it.
Yeah.
Accepted. Okay. Okay.
It's
There's
just
no need for
like-
an approval.
Yeah, if I can just add to this, I'm looking at our previous history of bylaws changes, and all of them did have approved by the Board of Education subsequent to the CAC adoption. So,
I mean, the board can approve them. Is it legally required for the board to approve them? I would say that, as long as the board accepts the changes, it's fine. It's up to the board.
Okay.
And I think that would be a good thing for us to do.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
I'd like to have Kevin Sweeney join me when we do it. He's the one who has put in hard work on this over the past several years, and this is really the fruition of his efforts. I'd like to see him get the credit for this.
Okay. All right. Great. Thank you, Larry.
Thank you.
We will get that scheduled then.
Okay, other business, Mr. Sanders.
Our other business is the October financial report, and I will hand that over to Mr. Burnage.
Okay, thank you. Our total fund balances as of October 31st are $443,182,572, which is an $8 million decrease from the September 30th balance. During the month, we received 9.8 million in property tax payments. We also received 17.8 million in evidence-based funding and 5.9 million from the state for categoricals. Those were the first quarter payments, which were not paid until December last year. So at the end of the month, the amount due from the state was only $100,000. For the federal funds, we received 6.4 million, and that includes 1.8 million from the CARES Act. So overall, our total revenue is higher than last year as of October 31st, but that's really due to the timing of the categorical payments and then receiving the CARES grant funds this year, which we didn't have until the end of last year. For expenditures, in total, we've decreased about 4% compared to last year. However, since we're still early in the fiscal year, the timing of payments can impact the variances between the years a little more significantly. In particular, under the benefits this month for teachers' retirement and municipal retirement, we had 3 pay dates in October this year compared to last year when November had 3 pay dates. So the current month expenses look much higher this year, but next month that'll even out. And if there's any other questions, I could answer them at this time.
Does anyone have questions for Mr. Burnage? Hey, thank you, Mr. Burnage. Continuing on with work session.
So the work session, the first item is an intergovernmental agreement regarding the Northern Kane County Regional Vocational System. Dr. Lance is here to assist me if the board has additional questions. Essentially, the resolution before the Board of Education on work session this evening is an update to an intergovernmental agreement that has been in place for more years than I can recall. Historically, U46 has been the fiscal agent and housed the Northern Kane County Region 110 educational system. And that has shifted now over to the Burlington Central School District 301. With that shift, we agreed that we would update our intergovernmental agreement to reflect those changes. And that's what you see in this updated document.
Are there any questions? Next item.
Right. Our next is the tax levy resolution. Dr. King and Mr. Burnage are here to help with the presentation, but essentially attaches the tax levy resolution for the Board of Education. Mr. Burnage, any additional details that you need to share at this time?
I would just say this item and the next item, the certificate of the tax levy, really go hand in hand. The tax levy resolution is the annual resolution needed to allow administration to file the certificate of tax levy. And the certificate of tax levy lists the levy amounts that are requested for each fund. And it totals $294,970,452. The resolution and the certificate of tax levy are filed with the county clerks and must be filed by the last Tuesday in December. And the administration recommends adopting the resolution and the certificate of tax levy at the December 14th meeting.
Any questions for Mr. Burnage? Okay, next item, work session change orders.
So continuing a longstanding tradition that seems to be growing under the leadership of Sheila Downs, there's some change orders where we get money back from some of our contractors with whom we do business. So Sheila is with us tonight to answer any board questions. The first is a change order from Plant Operations for Abbott Middle School Site Reconstruction Project number 355. Administration recommends the Board of Education approve the change order from Advantage Paving Solutions, Inc. in the amount of minus $3,397.17.
Do any board members have questions about this change order? Okay, next item.
And a little bit more substantive is a change order from Plant Operations for Elgin High School Stadium Improvements, project number 237. Administration recommends the Board of Education approve the change order from FH Passion, SN Nielsen and Associates LLC in the amount of minus $100,256.41.
Does anyone have any questions? Okay, that's a nice change order.
Thank you, Plan Ops. Thank you, Sheila, and your team for all you do to get projects in under budget.
Thanks, Tony and the board. Obviously, we need your support to get these projects completed, so we appreciate the continued support.
Thank you. All right, since that is the last item, could I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. This is Veronica Nolan.
Second, this is Melissa.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Deverell,
Yes.
Ms. Noland,
Yes.
Ms. Owens,
Yes.
Mrs. Porter,
Yes.
Mrs. Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Thomas,
Yes.
Madam President.
Yes.
Motion approved 7-0. We are board is adjourned at 8:02.